Call to order the Airport Commission meeting on April 18th. First item is the agenda.
I'll move that we adopt the agenda as proposed.
I'll second that. Oh, sorry.
Motion been made to adopt the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, no. So ordered. Next item is a public forum. Is there anyone in the public forum? No one here physically? Anyone here electronically? No. So we'll open and we will close that item of public forum. Next item is the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes of July 21st and what's the other item here? Enplanements, yeah. Your motion?
I move it approval.
Motion
I'll
been made,
second.
seconded for the consent agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? So ordered. Next item is a discussion of the format. I was just commenting before the meeting, before the session about I'd like to have any comments on the format. What I'd like to add is some sort of a item called Airport FYI at the end of the meeting to allow commissioners and staff to put in items that might be of interest to the commission. One might be Helen might want to invite us to an open house of her city hall, or Jeff Shulman might say I have free season basketball tickets for everybody on the commission. Things like that.
Okay.
Might say that.
So I just the city council in Burlington has what they call general city affairs where they do that. So
Okay.
people without objection, I'll add that to our agenda in a routine way. I think Hannah and
Jeff Schulman's now on. I wanted to
oh,
make you
okay,
aware.
Jeff Shulman, okay,
Apologize, I was in trouble getting in on the link.
okay. Let's see, we were on,
Can I add one thing to the new format
please.
as well? Something that we discussed with the group. So we're also in future meetings gonna invite certain members of our aviation community to present to you all as well, which will be a separate agenda item. Next month, we're gonna have the USDA wildlife biologist on board. We're gonna invite our FBO CEO from Heritage Aviation, Matt Collins, the prior month, Air National Guard. Hannah, Shelby, and I just sat down this morning and talked about our next 6 to 8 month invitee list. So we'll have that coming forward.
That's outstanding, definitely.
That sounds great.
That's a great idea because, you know, we go around in the community and people ask us about stuff, and I hate to say, you're an airport commission, what's this about the wildlife and the flying into the turbines and all that? So that's good. Thank you for doing that.
And there's tenants on the field that I don't think you are aware or haven't heard of from in a while, like Pratt and Whitney, Beta Technologies,
Yeah.
of course, is going to be on the list, but lots of folks.
Okay, so we can look forward to one item, and also with TSA and some of the things that, okay. So any comment on that, folks?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Are there any other comments on the format? We'll try to have each item on the document have some person who is accountable for that item. So if you have questions, that you know who to call on that item, and not just say if it's nobody, you call Nick and he's busy, and really it's Shelby's issue. So the advantage of putting a name to a document is it would help us if we have questions to ask that of that staff person. Any other comments? The other thing is, we hope, and I should have done this too, each item has an explanation to it, not just an item that is blank. Like my item today, I should have had it in retrospect, I should have explained a few things that were there that would be so that the public and the commission knows what to expect in my little portion of the format. Any other questions or comments from people, from folks? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that item. And we'll go to the meeting procedures document. I had a few literary gymnastics on that today to get some wording that Tim George brought up. But you've had that document and you've had the document with the changes on it. Do you have any comments or questions in that regard?
I have none.
Comments.
Helen?
No, I have none. I think it's always nice to have it written down and updated, so it's reflective of how the commission is running.
Okay. Nick, you and I, this is a bold question. I mean, you and I worked on this early on, for 3 or 4 years ago. Did you get a chance to look at it?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Did you have any, I mean, you worked with the school board in Colchester, you have some experience there, and have any comments on what that is?
No, I agree with what Helen said. I agree with what your mission kind of is around this. So I think this is an excellent way to have the procedural rules in place. Very similar to what we talked about years ago. And I think, like Helen said, updating it, revising it, or just presenting it like you are right now is incredibly helpful.
Okay. Staff, you got any comments on that? On that at all? Hannah, you're liaison with me, I guess. You okay with that?
Yeah, I reviewed everything and.
Okay. All right, will someone move to adopt it then, please?
Oh, I move adoption of the Board of Airport Commissioners procedures and rules as reflected in this document.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, those opposed, no. So ordered. Financial package. Marie,
What would you like me to do? Did you want me to go through the list?
I would, for now, do what you normally do,
Sounds great.
because if I was throwing you a curveball, I'd tell you.
Okay, very good. I wasn't sure if we were just putting it in, but I'm happy to explain. So this month package is a little bit shorter, and you may recall that I do this time of year. So normally I would be letting you know the results of June, but since we are sort of closing out the year, we're getting everybody to continue reporting, and we're doing our year-end adjustments and things like that. I did not provide a profit and loss statement like a revenue and expense, just because of that. I didn't want to put something out there and have it change quite a bit. So what I did do is I just sort of summarized, I included the cash, because cash is what it is, it's actual, and I included to let everybody know our the receivables for the grants that we have. So I'll just go through quickly, and so a little bit abbreviated. This month, again, we included the 2, and I included that as of July 31st. So you have the latest and greatest information that we have to the end of July. I gave a brief summary. I'm just keeping everybody, since we have so much in the stimulus money grants, we have 2 grant packages that we received, which is amazing. And we're earmarked to get an additional package when the FAA, they haven't sent them out yet, but they will be in the next couple of months. So I'm just keeping everybody up to date on, we've spent, out of the first CARES Act grant, we have spent $6.1 million. We still have an additional $1.1 million outstanding on that. And we are primarily using that to cover some local shares that we have. It's eligible, meaning that on our grants, we have a cost to the airport that we cover, typically 4%. And sometimes it's up to 10% because the state doesn't always give us a full match on their, they give us an allotment of $500,000 annually for the cover their share. And our projects are pretty large, some of them. So like our taxiway, you get these large grants, it's $500,000 from the state is not adequate. So we are able to use that CARES money. Grant has a provision. It is the only one of these grants that has this provision that allows us to use that money toward our local share costs. So we are able to do that confidently. The second thing is we do have the CRISA grant. We were earmarked for that at the end of December of 2020, and we did receive that this spring. for a total of $4.04 million. And so far, we still have just about $2 million left to draw down on that. And we have drawn down for reimbursements through the end of May. So when we figure out exactly what we need to cover our expenses for June, we'll continue to draw down on that and continue each month. And then, let's see, the AIP, we are expecting in a few months, we'll get us about a $7.6 million American Rescue Act grant. The FAA amount that we owe in reimbursements under our grants, I have here, let's see, it is about $1.9 million as of July 31st. And it's made up of multiple grants that we have, a number of grants that are outstanding. And so, and the cash that we had $3.2 million in our general checking account in the airport account for July 31st. So we are doing well. We continue to draw down very quickly for reimbursements under our grants. And our newer grants, since we started getting grants, we'll say last summer and this year, have been 100% federally funded. So when we get reimbursements, it's actually for 100% of those grant expenditures, which is very helpful. So our cash has continued to do well, and we're definitely seeing higher revenues coming in both on the parking garage. We're also seeing higher revenues coming for the car rental concessions. So all of these things are helping our cash to remain very strong. And with that, that's the end of my financial report, unless somebody has any questions.
Okay, any questions, members for Helen?
Just a quick one in terms of the, I think it's wonderful that we're getting 100% from the FAA grants. Have they indicated when that might change back to, 90-10 or whatever it is, 80-20?
Yeah, I think we know that for the grants that they're awarding this summer, we've already gotten several of the grants. We're waiting for one more grant. They have been 100%. And that has been a special, just like they did last summer. They granted through the stimulus, all these stimulus packages, a special allowance to make them 100%. They did that again this year. There's no guarantee that we will ever get that again. I mean, I would be hopeful and love it if we did. It really makes getting these projects done just much easier when you don't have to come up with some local share funding. It's quite a benefit.
Yeah, I'll add to that too.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Nick. We're getting used to a new format.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will add to that just a little bit too. I think we have to and are watching this Delta variant very closely. So not to bring in the COVID scenario into the play, but it has everything to do with the 90% up to the 100% shares on prior grants. So I think over the fall and the winter seasons that's going to be a huge part of what happens next for next year's grants of May of 2022, which is going to be very interesting to watch that closely, not only for Enplanements, but of course for financial situations.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions, staff? Any questions?
Bill, I have a question.
Go ahead, Tim.
So to follow on that conversation, Marie, I noticed that in the CARES Act description, you note that we're reserving money for the local share. Is that because under the CRISA, we cannot use any of those funds for local share?
You are correct. We do not have a provision, is not an allowed use of the CRISA. And it is really for us, it is on the older, I'll say older grants, they're grants we're doing now, like the TIP project and stuff. We do have a local share requirement on those grants. The newer grants, we have no local share requirement, but we have some pretty large sizable projects that we have the local share requirement on, and that's what we've been able to go ahead and use it on. So I don't have that flexibility under the CRISA grant. And I'm going to assume I probably will not have it under the American Rescue Act. And they're probably anticipating, since they fully funded these AIP grants last year and this year, that why should they allow that as provision? But if you have a grant that's outstanding and you haven't completed it yet, you may have ones that are still 90%.
Tim, you all set?
Yes, I am. Thank you for the clarification, Marie.
Okay, anyone else? Jeff Shulman? No?
Good.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the next item is the construction update. Larry, you've got a whole library of stuff to give us.
Right, I can just make a couple of corrections and updates. We'll go through the whole thing though. So I'll start with the correction and update, and I can go through the whole thing like usual, or just ask if there are any questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So on number 9, the sound installation pilot project, the update on that was wrong. Somehow I cut and pasted the wrong answer to that. We do have that grant. We have drafted the contract and it's in legal review for final approval, so we can work with the consultant. Helping us move forward. Okay, so that's a correction. The other item, the terminal integration project, the TIP. We did receive the zoning permit, which I said hadn't been received yet. So that's why you see a little bit more activity out there. And I believe Shelby is working on a ceremonial groundbreaking towards the end of the month for that
I'll
project.
talk about that.
Okay, you got that, okay? And then at the end, we do have our CIP meeting for the next upcoming year and the following 4 years tomorrow with the FAA. Those are the items I added for items 13 through 18. So if you have any questions or would like to go.
Any questions of Larry? Hey, Tim, go ahead.
Are the questions on just the additions or the document as a whole?
Both.
Okay. The only, just a very small thing, on number 12, the new noise monitoring equipment. If we could for next month, we could have just some photos of what those look like. I'm just curious how large they are and how they fit into the surrounding areas that they're in.
Sure, I can send you pictures of the areas and the pictures of the units and the dimensions, if that's helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you, Larry.
I can do that.
You all set?
Yes.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, you all set, Larry?
Good, thank you.
Okay. Next item is the sound data. Anna? I didn't see too many reports or
Yeah, so it
complaints.
was quite quiet this month. We only had 6.
No, it wasn't. I heard those F-35s all month. Go ahead.
In terms of entries, we had 6. We had a lot less. What I meant by that, so we only had 6 entries. 3 of which were from the New North End, 1 from Jericho, and 2 from Winooski. So far less than we usually do. It's helpful for next month before we implement all the data into that new equipment that Tim was mentioning. I could do kind of a 1-year recap, or just have a chart that show differences throughout the year, if that's helpful to you at all.
I think it's helpful to the extent of the geographic location of these
Okay.
complaints. Is that?
Sure, so I can do like a 1-year analysis from what we were using before that.
Okay, and rather than Tim? Okay. Gotta get used to that. So an annual, that, again, is that?
Whatever's helpful for you to visualize, like over the last, since we started reporting on this, like changes through each month, or whatever format you would like to view the data before we get into the noise monitoring.
Okay, so there's sort of a bridge kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Probably geographic, whatever you do.
Okay,
To the
I'll
past.
include a map.
Yeah, whatever you got.
Okay.
Comments from people on the sound?
I have an addition when.
Go ahead, Nick.
So just a reminder too, that the new system that's going online because of the noise monitors, but also the radar tracking system has a noise complaint online feature to it as well. Excuse me, which will also be able to be viewed anytime by any of you, but we'll also provide that information monthly. So that's where we're transitioning this to, from manual entries to what you see today to a more formal, up-to-date process.
But what's the radar element component that you just mentioned? Radar versus sound, they're two different issues.
So three sections to it: the noise monitors, the radar data itself, or track information, so it actually shows a line of where aircraft have been,
Okay,
and then a noise complaint. So if you, Bill, submitted a noise complaint, entered your address at this location, it's gonna say at that particular time, this aircraft was over your house at this altitude, going this fast, producing this amount of noise. So it's
Wow.
all connected into one thing, and then you'll be able to see it on a map geographically, like Hannah was saying.
wow,
It is pretty fascinating.
yeah. Commission members, any questions or comments of Hannah on what we're doing here?
No, just wow.
Yeah,
It is a wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sound good, let's go. So you're all set, Hannah, with that, and you know what the map is, so to
Yes.
speak. Okay, let's have the director's report from interim director, I guess is the proper title, but works for me.
Me too.
Nick?
So Larry touched on it a little bit. This, my first agenda item here is a capital improvement plan. Larry just mentioned that we're meeting with the FAA tomorrow to go through really a 3 to 5 year plan associated with our FAA funding opportunities. I did not provide that document on this particular agenda, just the agenda item. It is on the agenda.
Could you follow that up?
Absolutely. The reason I
Absolutely.
didn't do that is a lot of times at these meetings, things get shifted around a little bit based on priorities of the FAA, priorities of ourselves, and new funding opportunities. We have an infrastructure bill that we're following very closely. We have a transportation bill that's Senator Lackey through his appropriations committee we're following very closely, which adds significant amount of funding to the table for us. So we want to make sure tomorrow, as we go through this with the FAA, that we are in line internally, and then we'll be able to present that to you next month. A nice 5-year capital plan
Wow,
that you'll be able to see.
wow.
Um,
Just continue, sorry.
Extremely exciting stuff. So it is going to be a wow when you see it on what we're looking at, not just the regular stuff that we've been talking to you about for many years, but some of the earmarks that are now back, which we're extremely happy about, as well as the big infrastructure bill that we, like I said, are following very, very closely.
Okay, good. Any questions of Nick on capital improvements program? Seeing no hands up, no enlightened squares. We'll move it.
Couple more things.
Next item?
So Larry mentioned also the terminal integration project. Well, when you drove in, I'm sure you saw a lot of the construction
Yeah.
off to your right-hand side, and as the other commissioners come in and the public comes in, you're gonna see a lot of construction happening out of the south side of our terminal building. Shelby, Larry, Hannah, myself, Aaron Desautel's just approved a nice display that's gonna be going out on the fence line, so it's a little protection of the actual construction site, but it's a visual of what that site is gonna look like. That'll also be displayed downstairs in the TSA checkpoint too, so the traveling public will be able to see a 3-dimensional model of what's gonna happen. August 30th at 11 o'clock, Shelby and the mayor's team are coordinating a groundbreaking ceremony. We, of course, are inviting you all to that groundbreaking ceremony. That's August 30th at 11 a.m. We'll send out more information as well so that everybody's up to speed. Silver shovels, scissors, ribbon cutting,
Dog
nice
and
ceremonial
pony show.
pile of dirt.
Can I bring my dog?
You
Yeah.
bring your dog, it'll be outside, it'll be great.
Right.
We are extremely excited about that, as you can imagine, and it's gonna be a 1.5-year project in front of us, but that's why it's such a big deal to really break ground.
Good, wow, okay.
Yeah, the last item I have is just a quick thank you to the airport team, not only the folks in this room, but so many others around, because we just concluded our AAAE conference, which was just over the last 2 days. We had 250 airport executives and others come into Burlington for the first time in 18 months. We had an in-person conference for the industry.
Wow.
So huge thank you, huge success. Mayor spoke, Captain Richard Phillips spoke as one of our keynote speakers, Kyle Clark. I spoke a few times as well. A lot of fun, very busy, exhausting work to plan and execute a conference. So thank you to these guys and all of us. Yeah, very much.
Good going.
That's all I have for my report this month. Next month, I plan to actually have a presentation for you from now on for my director's report as soon as I can catch up on a couple of things.
Good, good. Any questions?
yeah. I have one. Just on the visual display on the terminal integration plan, you said there'll be something inside as well as outside. So tell me exactly where outside it will be.
So right now we have a temporary construction fence protecting the site. So on that fence,
Okay.
It's not necessarily a plastic signage, but it's very similar to construction signage that you see around construction sites. Yeah.
And then inside, the public could come in if they wish to see a 3D
That's correct. So
in the lobby. Okay, so you don't have to be have gone through security or anything to see it.
It's correct. You don't have to go through security. It's going to be at the security line though. So if you imagine the South Concourse where you go into Delta, JetBlue, Frontier, there's a bamboo wall, an art wall.
Right. Yes, I know exactly.
So that bamboo wall is coming down. We're going to relocate that somewhere else in the terminal. And on that wall, there'll be temporary construction walls with visualizations.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course.
Anyone else? Anyone else question of Nick? Okay, we'll move on to follow-up items. The first one is the follow-up item, public relations. Nick, is that part of your package presentation of the commission that have a PR guy from the Guard here to explain their role? Is that part of your presentation that you talked about?
The invitee list?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a meeting with Colonel Shevchuk next week, and that's going to be.
So we'll leave that on here until it happens.
Great.
Okay. I think Jeff Shulman, did you have the rental car negotiation issue? Jeff Shulman?
Yeah, that was my item. I just,
Are you satisfied with the report from the last meeting?
yes, and if there's, I don't know if the staff has any updates now, I'd be interested to hear them.
Is this, Jeff, should we eliminate this item now that it's been satisfied?
Maybe if I could just hear from the staff real quick, just kind of a review of where it all stands right now.
Okay,
I would recommend keeping it on. It's an active negotiation that's occurring. So
Okay.
I think maybe in the hopefully next month will be our last month presenting on it.
okay, all right, so we'll continue on that, Jeff, as Nick just outlined.
Do you want me to give just a 2-second update?
Sure.
Now? So we actually published an RFP 3 weeks ago, I want to say. We held a mandatory pre-bid meeting on that RFP. The only folks that attended that meeting were the incumbent rental car companies. So as of this morning, actually, we are officially canceling that RFP and starting a finalized negotiation with the rental car companies that you see here today. That will give us the opportunity not only to sign most likely an extended year contract with them, a concession agreement with them inside of our terminal, but also to occupy the QTA facility that we built last year. So we're hoping to complete that pretty soon because our RFP was very clear on what we needed and what we wanted. So we're about 90% completed on an intent of a contract, just to have to clean that up a little bit, bring it through to you, which hopefully we can do in September on the September Airport Commission meeting to authorize that contract and carry it forward to City Council.
Okay, good. You should be all set, Jeff, so if it's not far, so we'll leave that on there. We'll leave the right to know orientation until such time we can get someone in to do it officially. Okay. And meeting place, Tim, George, I think we talked about that at the last meeting. Are you satisfied that we should remain here for the reasons that their commission meetings are published as the third Wednesday of the month in this location? And it's just kind of cumbersome to have the commission meeting elsewhere because you got the public right to know and ADA access. Are you satisfied that we're more practical to do it here or not?
I guess, you know, the concerns that were raised at the prior meeting, I totally understand them. And so I'm willing to, while it would be great, I think in theory to have these meetings at different places, I do understand some of the complexities that would result. So I'm okay with this coming off the list.
Okay. All right. So you want to leave this on here or not? Yes, yes or no?
I'm okay with this coming off the list.
Say that again?
Yes, this can come off the list.
Okay. Mission accomplished. Okay. Anything else?
There's one more item.
Yeah, there's one more, Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead on this item is the item number.
11.05.
I got too many agendas here. Oh, what is it? The
Contract inclusion.
contract inclusion. Okay, contract inclusion. What is that?
I'm
Who's
not sure what that is actually.
Bill, I can refresh our memories from,
Please.
I can't remember if this was the June meeting
Oh.
or the May meeting, but there was the guidance from the city attorney that the contract should no longer be included in the board packets that went out to commissioners.
got it? Want to comment on that or not?
Yeah, I'm happy to do whatever makes sense, whatever document that you'd like to reference or refer to. Like I said, we do not attach them to the Board of Finance or City Council packages that we send.
You don't.
We do not. But we have them 90% completed at the time of going through I would say 99% completed at the time of going through approvals, with the contingency of approval of the city attorney's office.
So Tim, would you like the contract included in the documents when we get the document for consideration?
I guess I would want to hear from the city attorney what the concern is.
I don't think I don't think there's any concern, and definitely if we would like to attach them, that's very easily done. We can absolutely do that.
I think I think we ought to include it. If it's not an unusual workload for you guys to do that. And there are some contracts that some of us would like to look at. There's some that we couldn't care less about. But at least we have the choice to look at them or not, or if you vote for them, you gotta know what you're voting for. I'm quite shocked that the city council doesn't have a copy of the document. Whoa, okay. So is that okay then? Tim, I'd like to do that though, as a matter of course.
Sure, I have no objection to seeing contracts back in the package.
Okay. Okay, all right, good, thank you.
Done. Yep.
If it's not a big deal.
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so having said all that, I think the next item is adjournment.
I just have one question. Can I ask a question now?
You may.
I just wondered if there's any update on, I guess, Nick's status as acting director.
I have no update for the commission tonight, no.
Okay. I just keep getting asked, so that's
Yeah, we do.
why I asked. So I wanted to
Me
know.
too.
And you don't have a timeline at this point? No idea?
I have no timeline to report yet to the commission. no.
Okay. Thank you.
He caged his words very, very well. Okay, are we all set then? We'll
I am.
motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
So
I
moved.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Yeah.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Opposed, no. We're hereby adjourned.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.